So we got the big Trump rally in the South Bronx today. I wonder if Scott Lebedo will be out there with his penis mylar balloons again.
That's right.
That would be a nice souvenir for those who show up.
Truck full.
The Trump rally. A little memento of the Trump trial in Manhattan. Mm-hmm. Get an Alvin Bragg edition of the mylar penis balloon.
Oh, boy.
Michael Goodwin is a New York Post columnist and Fox News contributor. And he's writing about what we were talking about briefly with Julie Kelly, the upcoming Hunter Biden trials against the backdrop of the first debate next month. He joins us now with more. Michael Goodwin, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Oh, it's a pleasure, guys. Thank you both.
Normally when I hear the phrase June swoon, I think obviously Chicago Cubs. But,
right.
But you're saying that Biden, despite being on offense and saying, I'll do it twice, make my day, pal, we're going to debate June 27th. Now you're saying, wait a second, he might be in another valley, not a peak, come that first debate.
Right. Look, I think it's a curious choice for Biden to demand these debates. So we know right off the bat that it's because he's behind. He sees what's going on. As I wrote a week or so ago, the race is clearly Trump's to lose now. I mean, Biden is doing poorly in pretty much all the swing states. And so, and you just hear it. I mean, you hear people talk all the time. I mean, Fareed Zakaria warning the Biden supporters that don't sugarcoat the polls because the polls tend to underestimate Trump's support, which has historically been true. So I think that Biden is clearly in a bind. He's looking for some way to get voters to come back to him, to give him a second look. So I understand all that, but I'm curious and confused, frankly, about the June selection because the Hunter Biden is on trial starting on June 3rd for the gun case in Delaware. It looks like a slam dunk case. I don't know how he possibly beats this unless it's the hometown jury of Biden supporters in Delaware. Since I wrote that column, the California trial has been postponed until September. That's on the taxes. Nonetheless, Joe Biden's son may well be convicted of a federal crime, felonies, by the time that debate gets here, and will be facing the tax charges later. Joe Biden has 2 trips to Europe planned, one for the G7, one for the anniversary of D-Day. So this is a man who's not very strong physically and mentally. We all know that. It's not a secret. How is he going to stand up to just the rigors of the job? And he'll be doing campaigning. His campaigning consists mostly of low-key events with donors and a few workers in a factory somewhere for a photo op. Nonetheless, he has to get on Air Force One and get off without falling, et cetera, et cetera. So I think the rigors of this month may be more than he can handle, which is, of course, the question then is, why did he do it that way? Why did he demand a June debate?
Well, they're doing it, too, right before the week of 4th of July, where I think people are going to be tuned out. I mean, people normally check out and take a week off and just, decompress from the news.
Yes. Look, I think there's a lot of speculation that this is his final opportunity, and that if he doesn't do well in this debate and the polls keep trending away from him, that he'll be replaced at the convention. That this is his final chance to prove to his own party that he can carry this banner forward.
How does he get replaced? I mean, I just don't say, that this is, we've talked about this before, they're going to replace him. And the question is, who's the they? Because,
right.
because Jill and Joe have the final say on that, and they have every incentive to stay to the bitter end. So I just don't see him walking away if Jim Carville says you didn't perform well enough in the June debate, so you have to leave. I don't think that's going to get him out.
No, I completely agree with you. So, but it still begs the question, why June? And my answer to that is, it is his last chance in the sense of he's got to juice the party. He's got to give the party not confidence that he's going to win, but hope that he can win, that he's not dead yet. And I think that's why he has picked June. As Amy correctly says, people tend to tune out, not just because of July 4th, but they tend to tune out through the summer. I mean, this tradition of people, sort of, even in the stock market, right, sell in May and go away. There's something similar in politics, that the race is kind of frozen over those summer months, that unless there's a huge development, a mistake by one candidate or another, or huge events, the race tends to be static over the summer.
Yeah, and you reset on Labor Day.
It can't be static. For Democrats, it can't be static at this point.
Well, the other thing is it's a hedge. I mean, what he did with the proposal for debates and seeming to be on offense is limit the number of debates. He wanted fewer debates, not more. And so this is a way he has to debate, but you do it early enough, and in the timing that you were both just discussing, that if it doesn't go well or if it's a draw, whatever, you got it out of the way. So it's no longer something that the campaign has to deal with great trepidation as to whether or not he can stand up. There's time to recover from whatever happens.
Right, and I think we all have very low expectations for him. And so, in a sense, he's running against the expectations. And if he does better than the expectations, then it's good for him. I mean, look at the State of the Union, right? He was full of something that night, and it was a better performance than we expected. And so, for a while, he got a bump in the polls out of that. So that's the sort of thing I think they're doing here. I would just add one more thing quickly. The terms that he dictated for these debates are now coming into more full view. So we know no audiences. The moderators can shut off the mics when the time is up. And now we learn, Trump said yesterday on WABC Radio in New York, that they'll be seated at tables. So this is taking on the feeling of a conversation or a meeting rather than the debate where you have a kind of, standing behind a lectern and all of that. Sitting down strikes me as another advantage for Biden, who, of course, is not steady on his feet.
Yeah,
well, I thought
totally agree.
Yeah, the ABC debate was still open for interpretation in terms of having a live audience.
That's the second one.
Right.
And, yes, I mean, I don't know that all – Biden laid out this term sheet, and the media organizations kind of raised their hands, oh, me, 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 me. And so he agreed, and then Trump agreed. I think Trump, frankly, jumped too soon. Yeah. I think he said, I'd like more debates, I'd like this, I'd like that. But he's getting nothing of what he wants so far. So it's going to be Jake Tapper and Dana Bash. Now, if you can find one instance of either of them saying something about Trump, I would be surprised, something nice about Trump. And ABC, which the news department is largely headed by George Stephanopoulos, who has declared that Trump is a danger to the country.
Yeah, but other than that, it should be fair.
I'm not sure what kind of debate we're going to have here.
Other than that, though, it should be even-handed, right? I mean,
yeah, right. But it's always 2 against 1, right, or 3 against 1 for Republicans. That's just the nature of the game.
So Trump. You've interviewed him a number of times and written about said interviews, and I wonder what you think, what your intuition is about his running mate, because this is a decision that is in the offing. Maybe comes before the first debate, maybe comes in between the 2 debates, before the convention. But the I guess conventional wisdom at this point is that J.D. Vance is the front runner. What's your view on it?
I don't even know if there is a front runner.
Okay.
I have asked him about this, and he has been incredibly circumspect. I'll come back to that in a second, because I think he is somewhat of a different, more restrained candidate than we are used to. But on the VP front, I think there are a number of good choices. I haven't heard or seen a great choice yet. Somebody who touches all the bases of, what he has said, I think, is the conventional thinking. It's somebody who can step in and be president, and somebody who can help me get votes. You can switch the order, but that's primarily what you want. You want a good advisor too, and I think Mike Pence was largely a good advisor for Donald Trump. I think it's unfortunate that they had that falling out over January 6th, and I blame Trump for that. I think he pushed Pence beyond the point of reasonableness, and so Pence stood his ground. But I think there are, for example, would Tim Scott help him with black voters, let's say, in Philadelphia, which, of course, could help win Pennsylvania? Right. Nikki Haley has her own following. Would she be a good VP? Mike Pompeo, Tom Cotton, then the Burgum from North Dakota seems to be the flavor of the week. And as you say, J.D. Vance. I think the ones we can count out are Kristi Noem and Carrie Lake. I think both of them have failed in their own ways. The Kristi Noem thing is just bizarre beyond comprehension with the dog and then the reports of the affair. I don't see a national future for her in the short term anyway. So I think there are probably 6 or 7 good candidates for Donald Trump, but I don't see him at this point. I don't believe he's made up his mind.
Michael Goodwin, New York Post columnist, Fox News contributor. Michael, thanks as always.
My pleasure. Thank you both.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Parents, grandparents, you might want to be sitting down because this is amazing news.